I found my freedom when I was 13 years old. It came by way of a Schwinn Super Sport with the optional Brooks leather saddle. And yeah, no longer did my parents have to schlep me around. You know, I was free, I was independent. And I took to bike riding really well right away. That feeling you get when you're just leaning over your bars, nothing but infinity in front of you. You're in and out of pockets of sights and sounds and smells. Absolutely wonderful. I still get that same feeling today every time I jump on my bike. But what really amazed me was the metaphysical. You get riding and you just get lost in thought. You can work out any issue that you didn't even know you had. So that very phenomena came to haunt me. About a week later, I was up at the neighbor's top of the hill, time to go. It was nighttime. So I went outside, saddled up Brooks. We headed down the hill, and beautiful night. I let go of the reins, just had my hands behind my back, and the metaphysical kick in. I was thinking about this girl I was crushing on, and all of a sudden, wham! And when I came to, I realized I had hit this kid who was walking his bike up the hill, picked it right off, didn't even touch him. And he was fine, his bike was fine, but I was a mess. I dislocated my shoulder, my knees were all busted up, and poor Brooks, his front wheel looked like a heart, right? So that was the first time I learned the lesson that I would come to learn many times over in my life, is that freedom is not for free. It comes with a price, and the price for me was going to be pain, lots and lots of pain. So that continued, that pattern, through high school, through college, and got my first job, Ithaca, New York. Beautiful bike riding country, right? And I invited some friends up for the weekend, and we rode around the lake, we camped, we wine toured. It was great. The bike trip was born, and we celebrated our 40th annual last year. Very cool thing. But in those 40 years, what's really amazed me is that 40 years of bike trips, I only had to pay the price one time, and that was in 2014. I was the last one to leave, which is always the case, and decided to go for one more ride up the lake. So, I'm cruising along, just humming along, and the metaphysical kicks in, and I started thinking about my wife, Tracy, who had passed a couple years previous. And she's like, okay, Greg, grief enough, time to get on with it. And just then, thump, swallowed a bee. And, oh man, he nailed me in the back of the mouth. I mean, the pain was immediate and the fear was immediate because I'm allergic to them, right? So I throw down my bike and I look around and I see these people tarping up their boat on the side of the road, and I went running up. I said, excuse me, I got stung about a bee in the tongue. Well, once they figured out what I was saying, they schlepped me across the street to their really nice cottage, and they gave me some tweezers. I yanked this big old stinger out of my tongue. And then they took me into this beautiful living room overlooking the lake, and we all held hands. They said prayer, gave me a couple of antihistamines for the road, and I was off. And so I'm riding back, and my throat starts to swell, right? I'm thinking, oh, man, this is going to be tough. But I guess between the prayers and the antihistamines, it worked, because I got up the next morning, and I immediately jumped on my bike, and I got on a dating website, right? So in fast forward 2024, I'm dating this wonderful girl for about 3 years, and bicycle bliss. We've been on so many adventures, just great stuff. She also happens to be a really good storyteller. So we looked around and said, all the local slams, and they said, oh, Freedom down in York in July. I said, yeah, I can craft a story about freedom and bicycling. So that was the plan. And then our relationship kind of hit the rocks a few months ago. And man, I've been hitting my bike hard, right? Thinking about relationship, thinking about crafting this story. and I've ridden so hard that I ripped my knee up, right? And I'm just starting to come back. But I'm going to finish the story here, and I'm going to maybe have a cocktail back at the bar, and I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to jump on my bike, and I'm going to be 13 years old again.